if you were to evaluate the damage to our culture as a result of alcohol and overindulgence of alcohol versus the same with cannabis, use of cannabis, alcohol is by orders of magnitude worse for our culture.
A recent ruling from the San Luis Obispo Superior Court reasserts laws and regulations prohibiting cannabis billboards and advertising along California interstates and highways. Thanks for being here for KION News at 11. I'm Veronica Macias. Soon, the Monterey County District Attorney's Office will be enforcing these regulations. Companies that already have their pot signs along Highway 1 and the 101, they're going to have to take them down. Local cannabis businesses not happy with this decision. KION's Jocelyn Ortega joins us tonight with more on the crackdown. Jocelyn.
The Monterey County DA's office tells me that enforcing this statewide regulation is only to minimize unfair competition between these cannabis companies. But the CEO of Grupo Flor says this decision will only create frustration among such a rapidly growing industry. In just a few weeks, the Monterey County District Attorney will begin enforcing a statewide ban of cannabis advertising along California interstates and state highways. Cannabis companies who currently have billboards along Highway 1 and the 101 will have to take them down. But business owners say it doesn't help eliminate the stereotype associated with cannabis.
I think the decision's unfortunate because it blurs the line between legal and illegal cannabis. This decision has the opposite effect of what was intended, because what it really does is encourages further black market activity.
A recent ruling from the San Luis Obispo County Superior Court reasserted regulations under Prop 64 that banned cannabis advertising along highways when the sale of recreational cannabis was legalized in 2016. Greg Peterson, the lead prosecutor for the Cannabis Enforcement Unit, says the California Bureau of Cannabis Control promulgated regulations that allowed cannabis advertisements along the highway.
When these cannabis companies actually put these billboards up, they were doing it in compliance with existing regulation. However, this recent decision overturned those regulations, and they said that the statutes that are in place invalidate those regulations.
Deputy District Attorney Peterson says the enforcement is more than anything to minimize unfair competition among cannabis companies, and says enforcement will be handled on a case-by-case basis.
If a cannabis company is advertising along a state highway and they're doing so in violation of state law, they're deriving a significant benefit and a significant advantage over those other cannabis companies which are not doing so.
Meanwhile, Kogan explains the challenges that come along with already advertising along the highway for cannabis businesses, such as having long billboard contracts.
To obtain a billboard requires quite a bit of lobbying with the companies that run them. And they're not always open. This will be very frustrating for us because billboards are not easy to get.
Over the past year, millions in cannabis tax revenue funds within Monterey County have provided economic relief during the pandemic. Kogan says although he will comply with enforcement, he now faces at least tens of thousands in losses. He says he hopes to see new laws allowing the return of cannabis advertising in the next year. The Monterey County District Attorney's Office says change would have to come from a legislative level or a proposition. Any companies found not in compliance with these regulations could be ordered by a court to take their signs down or face civil penalties of up to $2,500 per day that their signs are up. The Monterey County DA's office tells me enforcement is not about going after cannabis companies, but rather simply following the state law. Reporting for Monterey County, Jocelyn Ortega, KION News Channel 546.